Hi you guys, it's been a while. I've missed you, but I'm back and I have a wonderful video series today, a stretch series and movement series that is fantastic if you have tight hips, and so many people do that I have worked with and know, so you're gonna love this. Let's get started right away. You're gonna come onto a mat on the ground, come down carefully, and we're gonna start with just some movement to kind of warm up the hips and loosen up the joints in the hip and pelvic area. So cross your, let's say your left leg over your right, and just foot just kind of closer toward your body from the knee. The knee's here and the foot's here. Just press that knee out and immediately you'll feel a nice stretch in the outer hip. So just press that out for a moment, take a deep breath. And we're gonna go right into some bridges, 10 times, just to get everything warmed up. Come up nice and high as you can, and you'll really feel that in the hamstring and the butt. So 7 more, 6, 5, really lift the hips, 3 more, 2 more, and 1 more. Hold this one and come down and switch sides. Take a little minute to shake out the legs and move to the other side. So now crossing that foot over, press that knee out, and when you do that, don't let this hip pop up. So keep your pelvis flat on the ground and really press that knee out. Take a deep breath and go right into those bridges. Again, we're just getting the hips moving, the pelvis moving, kind of lubing up those hip joints. 7 more, 6, 5, you should feel that stretch here, 4, and also here, 3, 2, and 1. Hold it for a moment, and then come down. Both legs down, come right on back up, and my favorite, we're gonna do some hip circles. So all the way around, like you're drawing a circle on the wall in front of you with your hips. Go all the way around, big circles. This is just lubing up and bringing circulation to all of the joints in the hips, the pelvis, and the back, the spine. So we'll go the other way now, reverse directions, big hip circles. And remember, we're just kind of warming up before the big stretches we have to come. So a couple more times, even it up, and roll down 1 vertebrae at a time. Kind of shake out the legs again, shake it all out, let it all go. And then you're gonna come right down with your knees, drop your knees apart. And I'm gonna show you a variation. If this hurts your low back at all, if you feel like your low back has to arch, ultimately you can use your abdominals to kind of keep your spine neutral and not arched. But if you feel like you're just too tight, then you can put your hands under your bottom like this for the next part. But let's see if we can use our core to keep the nice neutral spine. So hold this position. And in this position, you're just going to let your knees be loose, flap them up and down like a butterfly taking flight. Just flap your knees up and down. Again, we're just lubing up the hip joints, which are right in here. We're lengthening the muscles of the inner thighs. We're just bringing circulation to the area. And now stop for a minute, and you're not gonna see anything on the video, but what you're gonna do is you're going to press your feet together. Really press foot to foot. It doesn't have to be super hard, but you wanna give some good pressure. Breathing gently, 3, 2, 1, and then release. Flap those knees up and down. Again, you can put your hands under your bottom if you feel like it's straining on your back, to not do that, to not have them under your bottom. And we're gonna do this again. By pressing your feet together gently, you're really opening up the hip joints. You'll feel kind of an expansion and an opening of the hip joints. So again, press those feet together. Press, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then release and flap. Take some deep breaths. Another nice belly breath. And last time, press those feet together to foot, flat foot to flat foot. Hold it one more second and release. Flat, 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 flat. Really make the flaps big now. A lot of blood flow to the area, and we're gonna get ready to go right into our more intensive stretch. So big flaps, and go ahead and roll to your side and come on up to a seated position. So the sun really came out. It's nice and bright in here. Now I'm gonna show you a variation if your hips are very, very tight to the point where you feel like your back has to round like this when you're sitting cross-legged. Then it might be helpful to sit your bottom on a folded up blanket. This is just a big blanket. You can also use a rolled up yoga mat if that's easier, but you just sit right on the edge of it. And that puts your hips at a different angle. It makes it easier to stretch. I am not going to use the blanket, but you always can use that as an option. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. You are going to bring your leg, one leg, let's say it's my right leg, it'll probably be your left leg if you're watching. I'm just gonna say right leg though, because it's my right leg. I'm gonna bring it on top and put the foot into the knee pit. Yes, that's an anatomical term that I just made up. The knee pit of the left leg. So you're putting that foot right there. Now what we're going for is this. The legs are almost parallel, stacked on top of each other, almost parallel to the mat. Now, this might be what you look like, and that's okay, but this is what we're shooting for with a nice straight spine. So this is what we're going for, and if you are here and this is feeling good, then stay. Nice straight spine, chest lifted, breathe deeply, and maybe you can even walk your hands forward. And this is such a nice hip stretch. Now, if you can do that, and that feels good, then just hold that position while I talk through those of us who have tighter hips. So if you feel like your hip is up like this, then what I want you to do is rather than have your back rounded and your hip up in the air, try to straighten your spine and you can lean yourself back on your hands. So hopefully that's comfortable for you. Now say your knee is still up like this because you're really tight through here and through here. Here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna breathe in and let your leg be up. And you're gonna breathe out and you're gonna press that knee down. Holding it, and then the next time you breathe in, just go ahead and let it go. There goes that sun. And then you breathe out and you press it down again. Let's do it a couple more times. Breathing in, let it go, keeping your chest lifted and your spine straight. Breathe out, press it down. Breathe in, let it go. Breathe out, press it down. And you might see that your leg is getting a little bit lower and your hip is getting a little bit more open. So if that's the case, then you can either keep doing the breathing in, releasing, and then breathing out, pressing it down more, or you can just use your hand to maybe press down gently, not right on the knee joint, but right on the thigh, and just stretch, and maybe sit up straight. If you weren't straight before, make sure your spine is straight, make sure your chest is lifted, and just hold. So whatever position you're in, or if you're doing the breathing pattern, let's just hold it for about 15 more seconds. All right, moving on to the other side. So take a minute to maybe drop that knee that was just the stretching side. Drop it down, kind of loosen it up, make that joint move at the hip, and let's go on to the other side. So now my right leg is on the bottom, trying to get the shin parallel to the mat, and then my left foot is gonna go in the knee pit of the right leg. I'm shooting for my legs stacked, my shins stacked, one on top of the other, and both legs fairly parallel to the yoga mat. Okay? Again, this is what we're shooting for. With a straight spine and chest lifted, you should feel it in the outer hip, well, mainly on this side now, and the inner hip a little bit. And if this feels good, you can just press those legs down. You can maybe come forward and breathe deeply. This is such a wonderful hip opening stretch. If you need a little more help, if your leg maybe is up like this or your spine is roundy, then you want to, again, make sure you're doing everything you can to keep your chest lifted and your spine straight. Then you can prop yourself on your hands, and you can either just stay here and try to slowly work that knee down, or you can do the breathing, where you inhale and just let it be, and then you exhale, press it down as you exhale. Inhale, let it maybe pop up a little bit, and then exhale, press it down. Really use your muscles to press it down. Do it again. So inhale, let it be, and then exhale, press it down. And as you do that, you might feel a little kind of almost opening of the sacroiliac joint in the back too. So that's a nice little bonus. One more time, let's inhale, and then exhale, press it down. Keep going if that's working for you. If it has already worked for you and you feel more flexible now, you can press it with your hand below the knee joint. You can maybe sit up a little bit taller. You can see where you are. See if it changes over time. You want to hold these types of lengthening stretches for at least 30 seconds, preferably 45 seconds or a minute, even longer. And this active stretch with the contract and relax is really helpful to lengthen the tissues. So hold it for a little bit longer, another 10 seconds or so. Again, the ultimate goal is to come forward with your shins pretty much stacked one on top of the other and parallel to the mat. And inhale, come on up. You're going to drop this knee, the leg that we were just stretching, drop the knee up and down to really work out the knee joint. And we'll end by just coming back onto your hands or your elbows and dropping the knees together like so. Now you can walk the feet out if you're more flexible, or you can have them closer together, whatever feels good. This is just a way to work on internal rotation of the hip joint. Before we were working on external rotation, this is internal. So again, propped up on your hands or on your elbows, just walk those feet out and relax into this and breathe deeply. So this should also feel like an opening in the sacroiliac joint in the back of the pelvis and an internal rotation at the hip joint right here. So I hope this helps open your hips a little bit. It should feel really good. You should feel really open and loose and freely flowing when we're done. Perfect to do your hip circles. So go do your hip circles after this video and enjoy it. And if you want more women's health inspiration and information, definitely come on over to my website, femfusionfitness.com. If you sign up to subscribe to my email newsletter, you can get 4 free workout videos. You can also go to my book link and get 2 chapters of my book, which is called Lady Bits. You can get the first 2 chapters for free. So check that out, subscribe to my list, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time.